welcome back to Penguin's Garage. Last episode, you saw us take the Taco out for its first run. It did damn good. Very impressed. Today we're going to be fixing a couple things. Number one, this ORI strut is 1.5 inches lower than the other side. All the way up through its range, it's always 1.5 inches lower. It also bottoms out 1.5 inches before the other one. Jensen Brothers said that it's the incorrect level of oil. I'm sending it back. They told me they'd tell me how to do it, but I'd rather them look at it. If there's something else in there that's wrong with it, I want to know about it. The thing's had one trip out. We're also going to address our steering issue. So, the steering in this truck can only turn X amount of degrees, and it's pathetic. So, what I got is a full hydro kit, and here it is. We have clamps, the ram, bunch of little fittings and fun stuff, the orbital valve. You get it. There's a lot of stuff there. So the other thing that I did is I bought a Barnes truss that is supposed to be pretty good, but the problem is it's not meant for the low clearance truss like I have. It is meant for the high clearance, so we're going to modify it. But here's that. So I started putting it together a little bit. Supposedly this guy goes here somewhere and does some things, and who knows, we'll figure it out as we go, like always. But right now, because I'm taking this strut out and I'm going to be working on the front, I don't want to change anything too much up there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a board from the frame down to the axle so I can take out the ORI, and the truck will stay at its level-ish level, you know? So yeah, we're doing that. And then up here, we're going to take out the gearbox. My little thing for the radiator here did not work. So I got to figure out another way to mount the radiator on this corner. So we'll figure that out. Yeah, gearbox is coming out, and all the linkages down here are coming out. The ram assist is coming out. We're losing our power steering fluid again. I'm really glad that I put these badass rock covers on there, because we broke some boulders and nothing happened to it. If I still had the little stamped steel one on there like I was going to run, we'd be in a different boat right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not really going to take you guys along too much as I strip this down. Maybe just time lapse it or something, but yeah, all this is coming out. Alright, so we're going to try and put this thing together. No directions, of course. I'm just trying to see what pieces and parts fit together. And when I find said pieces and parts and they fit together, we'll screw them together. I think there were instructions on the site, but not much into reading instructions. I may have mentioned that once or twice. Might have to figure out where some of this stuff goes though. Okay, so they have these little tabs. And these tabs are for this piece here, this big goofy looking sucker. And they bolt tight to here. And then this part's going to get welded to the gusset chingus itself. There's another L-shaped one that gets bolted on here. And then this one appears to do something here. And it does. It goes like that. So the side with the countersunk holes is the side that's going to receive the bolts. Surprise, surprise. Alright, so that's going to sit together like that. And then...
No! No, and then!
This long piece here bolts to this piece. Okay, so this is our access plate that comes on and off when we are trying to service the diff or replace some broken pieces and parts. Hopefully that's not the case, but eventually it will be. Ta-da. So all the rest of these parts, they're just spare. You're not going to need them. Just checking my gaps, guys. I don't know that it really matters, but I want nice, pretty gaps. All right, that looks like a truss to me. So there it is. You can see we got the gaps about as even as I can. It's not perfect. There's a little hump there that's not matching up, so we're going to fix that. But it's going to be a rock basher, is all this thing's going to ever get, so take it for what it is. I'm going to flip it over, get these things spot welded in, and then I'll come back. So we have the truss temped up in there. I mean, everything's cut nicely. I don't want to weld it in yet because I got to get creative over here. Got to do something in these, close those in, make them look good. And then over here, I got a pry bar pulling down because we need to get that pulled down. And then I'm going to have to cut a little more out of that. But that's pretty much how she's going to lay. I'm going to go get the ram set up with the clamps on it and start figuring out where that's all going to go. And then we'll see, you know, where it goes from there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, big girl. All right, a little update. So here's our chingus. Now, all I have done is I centered out the ram. So each side is 4 3/4. Boom, boom. I centered it up on the plate. So there's a mark right there. There's a mark right there. And then I took my laser, I put it on that cabinet, and I focused it down so that it connected these 2 dots and centered that. Then I put a little spot weld, literally a little spot weld in each one of these. And then I just screwed these ends on. So whole purpose of that is so that I can put this back into the vehicle and look if it's going to be even on either end. As long as it's even, I'm going full on this thing. We're going to just burn this thing in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn all these in. I'm going to put something in here to strengthen this up, and the same here. Maybe just something on top. I don't know yet. I want to keep this thing low because I don't want it bumping into stuff at, you know, full droop and all that good stuff. So let's fit it up into the car and see what it looks like. All right. So this got a little heavier. Wonder why or how. Oh, shit. That was bad. That was pretty bad. Wow. Well, I don't know about a 1,000-pound rating on that. At this point, I'm going to take that ram off. With the bars in there and everything, front to back, I'm perfect. It's a little cantilevered. We'll just kind of mess with that with spacing it out and everything. Obviously, once the strap broke, kind of not going to waste time putting it back in when I know how close I am. So, yeah, let's burn everything here in, and then we'll go from there. So the heat coming off of this is pretty intense right now, but basically the ears that I cut off of up here, I've determined will work in there, and I have 2 of them, so I can make them all look like that just by doing this. So I'm going to cut that out. Ooh la la. Oopsie. Oopsie doopsie. And then we'll grind that. It'll look fucking peachy-ish. Peachish. So what I'm doing now, guys, I'm trying to line up these arms to make sure that everybody's going to be happy in their positions. I don't want it at like an extreme angle or anything like that. I'm not convinced that these are going to be long enough, but time will tell, right? Okay. So, oh yeah. So here's what I'm looking at, guys. I'm making sure that from this tire down, that's straight. So you can see it is nice and straight. On this side, we got same scenario. And then looking at it from front, the body's leaning, guys. There's no ORI in that bottom corner. But you can see everything's on the right plane, so nothing to it but to weld it in now. So we got the thing all welded up. I went ahead and bolted the PSC in just lightly. Again, not final yet. We have to get this piece into there. I made a relief cut across the front because this is meant for a standard truss, not a low profile truss. So that relief cut's going to go in here. I'm going to do 2 bolts in it for now. That'll help me to position everything where it needs to be. So here we are. Got it all, well, one part of it's painted. But that's the truss is welded in. Sorry, the hydrosteer tray is welded in. I welded this on. You guys notice I got a little more clearance in here now. I actually extended the ORIs to make it easier. And I do believe that that right there is going to clear everything. But when I let it down, I'm going to let it all the way down. And then we'll see kind of where it sits and what happens. I'm going to take the wheel off, cut that one. And I'm just leaving the old mounts on there. No real reason to take it off, especially for the amount of trouble it is to take them off. But yeah, we got some parts up here. I ran out of paint. So we got the parts up here. I did have to modify this again. Had to take a little more little nubbins off of there. So yeah, that's looking good. So I'll get some more paint tomorrow, do some touch up, then we'll put the ram back in. Oh, the other thing I did, I welded these up and I was gonna paint them, but guess what? Can't paint them with no paint. So these will go back inside for the night. But yeah, those are ready to go. All right guys, so it's a new day. We got all that painted down there. I'm gonna put that in today, but I'm really interested in starting on this orbital. So how this works, this bolts up to your orbital valve right here. And this is kind of an adapter, snout nose, whatever you want to call it. So there is a bearing in there, but this can be welded and all sorts of stuff. So I am going to take this and adapt it to this. Problem is, this is 5/8, this is 3/4, so I need to drill this out, which is not a big deal. I have plenty of meat on this to be able to drill that out. And with hydro steer, you don't put any tension on the steering wheel. Like the steering wheel is, all the tension becomes in this orbital valve. So there's not as much tension as trying to turn a gearbox and it's binding up and you're shoving everything you got into it. It doesn't work like that. So I'm going to drill this out to 3/4. Then I'm going to take a drill bit and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pilot into here and see where that all ends up. And then I'll drill this out on the drill press so it's straight through. And then I'll come back over here and plumb it the rest of the way out the other side over here, put a bolt through there, and bada bing, Bob's your uncle, we have ourselves a connection. So once that's all done, I'll try and figure out the rest of this. But as it is, this is going to push the orbital way out here. I want the orbital up here. So that needs to be cut off. So yeah, that is the part I'm hung up on at the moment. How far up do I want to go with this? Because right now I have the shaft completely collapsed. I want the shaft out. See how that moves right there? In, out. So that's if I'm ever in an accident, I'm not going to go nami with the steering wheel and die and stuff. So this has to come all the way extended, just like that. We're going to cut it wherever we want it, and then I'm going to try and figure this guy here out. And then we're going to do that. Okay guys, so it's Saturday, as I like to call it, productivity day. So let me show you what I got done on Thursday. I got the shaft cut off. I cut off the spot weld, and that's ready to go. Got a little cuckoo crazy there with the saw, as you can see. So then I took out the Milwaukee circular saw and shashing, sliced it right down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this shaft solid here. And then I'm going to put this up there. And I'm debating whether I want to put a pin through here and go through it or just weld it to it as well. Now, this will be completely unremovable, but I honestly don't care because the important part unbolts right here. So if this bearing in here ever goes bad, I'll just redo the entire design. But right now with what I got, I think this is the optimal way. So I'm going to take it over to the bench. I'm going to weld this. I had thought about TIG welding, but the skill that I have for TIG welding is not quite there, so I would build a lot of heat and put it on this bushing. So I'm going to just do this up real good, throw it under the water real quick. Exactly what you're supposed to do is shock the weld. And then I'll tap this thing, go back up onto this arm here, figure out the proper placement. I think I'm going to end up cutting it back a little more. This is fully extended right now, and that's going to help too, so I can pull everything back if I need to. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. So let's get this welded up. I'll come back and then we'll get that put into place, and then we're going to get this bracket welded on. Then I got to start doing the hoses because it's Saturday and they're only open for a half a day. So I got to get my ass in gear and get some shit done. So may or may not show a lot of this just because of the time crunch that I'm in. But I'll show you some key points. There it is. You fucking donkey. Lift it and sift it and shift it like we lift it. That's nice. Right there. Alright guys, so I got my first plate in here. I basically cut a U into a shape, or into a plate, sorry, a shape obviously. And that fits right around the pipe nicely. I did it on the bandsaw, so it's perfect, not. And then I cut an angle in the bottom, and this is so I get maximum welding. If you don't know, if you just cut this in a straight line, you only have that much surface area you're welding, where typically you want to kind of round things off a little bit. So that's exactly what I did, and gave myself more surface area to weld to. So I'm going to take the pump off. This is all going to stay here, and then I will come back, I'll weld all this in, put this on the other side in the back here, and then the orbital will be in. And then we're going to weld this shaft up here. Bob's your sister, we're done. So let's make some progress here. Okay, so we got the orbital welded in. You can see I got it all up and around there. Cut it in down there. Ooh la la, so pretty. So yeah, that's on all sides. I got the other side from down below and up top, but it's still piping hot. In fact, it just burned a little bit. So I'm gonna let that cool down. Once it cools down a bit, I'll get the orbital put back in here, and then we're gonna start figuring out, do I want the hoses on top, or do I want them off to the side over here, and then I can come up and around. There's been a change in plans. So on the phone they told me I had to run all -8 hoses. The kit that they sent, these are all -6. Then they also sent me this flow control fitting, which I have no clue where this goes yet. So got to figure that one out. That might go into the orbital. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But then, you know, -8, -8, -8, and then these are -6. So like, what goes where? I don't know. That's going to be fun in itself. So I might be able to use my -6 lines that I already had for this truck. We'll get there eventually. Right now we're going to put a fucking cylinder in. So yeah, let's do that. Okay guys, so I started putting together the fittings thinking this was going to be super simple, and then I developed like a check valve and this flow control valve, and I was like, okay, that's kind of silly, super silly. Where do those go? So I started goofing on PSC's website, and you're welcome to freeze this if you can even make it out. No, probably not. Anyways, what it says in here is high pressure hose fitting connects to pump, and then it tells you up here where this stuff goes. Now I also had this printout off of their website that I was like, oh, this is going to be simple. So I know where the pump comes in, the reservoir, so this back one's going to flow back to my cooler and then goes back to the reservoir, so that's cool. But I was like, why is there some -8, some -6? Like, this is the kit that they gave me. Why is it all -6 if I need these things? So long story short, on here it says install the CV300 one-way check valve into the high pressure in on the orbital. Now if we look at the orbital, there's the high pressure in right there. Right there. So I'm getting through this stuff, I guess. No sort of expert at this. So if it works, great, do what I do. If it doesn't, I'd probably find another video. But here's how I'm doing it. So let's finish putting some stuff together. Okay. So here's our check valve going pressure in. So that's going to go there. And then return to tank. So it's saying number 6 fittings go on these. So that means that my ram is going to be -6 fittings as well. And then low pressure out, orbital out. So these are the 6AN fittings, SFK003, or 03 I should say. Those are going to go into our Ramathorn. Hey, let's be car ramrod. Hey, car ramrod.
Car ramrod. You get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, there's one. -2. So that's that, and that's that. And now I need a -8 coming out of this, which is probably this one. Okay, we got a handle on what's going on here now. So this is correct, to the best of my knowledge. So we'll tighten all these guys here up. Those are nice and fit. Toy, like a toy gun. I got no way of holding that tight. I'll have to snug these on the vehicle. One of these is going to be for the reservoir. So the reservoir return line now is going to be -8. So it looks like feed and return need to be -8 for the higher flow, but for whatever reason, it's okay with 6 down to the pump. I don't make the rules, guys. So now it's time to get this stuff set back in the truck like we were going to do a minute ago. I gotta get these tightened up and Loctited, and then life will be good. So I'm gonna get all that stuff handled. Did you really think it was gonna be that fast? What are you, crazy? This is real life. Shit takes forever. Yeah, watch what I do. Step 1 of 432, we have to put this back in under here. Now this didn't really want to come out very well due to some conflicts of interest here, but we clearanced it and it still doesn't want to do what it needs to do here. There it is. Just have to find the right Jenga piece to play Jenga with. Jenga. Got a whole bunch of these to put in now. That's that. Now we're going to bring the ram over and get the ram set in. Okay, so that's that. Camera's getting in the way a little, guys. I'm going to get this painted, get the orbital stab back in it, get that welded in, and then I can start figuring out the lines that need to happen here. I got these hoses marked. We're going to double check our diagram. The old saying, cut 6 times, it's still too short. So this side here is considered the right port because it pushes the ram to the right. That's coming up to the front of the orbital valve. So that one there is the longer one. That is correct. There it. So we are going to cut both these hoses. I'm going to be using a cutoff wheel. The reason I use a cutoff wheel to cut a hose, if you didn't know, there's steel inside of the hose. So that is where it gets its strength for the extreme pressure that it's under. So I'm going to have to take this and get new chinguses made for it. And then we're going to cut this one. Alright. That's that. Now I'm going to pull the sheathing back and zip tie that so that they don't destroy it. Alright, so push the foreskin back like that, and then just kind of put your zip tie where you're going to want it. I'm going to want to give them some clearance there. Clearance, clearance. There's one. There's 2. Okay, so next thing we want to do is figure out where the fittings are going to go, because you need to clock these things. What was happening before is it was, the shorter hoses that I have, the fittings like this, so you try to turn this, these hoses are extremely rigid. Like, this is what happens when you try to turn them. So we want to clock them properly, meaning this fitting goes in, you mark it, and that's where it gets crimped. So when it goes in, the hose is nice and relaxed still. Always want your hose relaxed. Got our white paint pen. And we just mark the line where we want the fitting to face. So now when I take it down to have those crimped, he'll go on, the fitting will come out, I'll come back, and boom, in they go. Now those gotta go. Bada bing, bada boom. Hoses are ready. Fortunately, I gotta do it on Monday because they're closed. So, yeah. But that's what it looks like. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna work on our feed lines up here. And I'll show you how those go together. But first we need to lower the truck back down because it's a little bit tall right now. So I'm going to drop her down and then we are going to work on it as we originally intended. So that fitting right down there is the next one to get played with. Supposedly the chamber is going to go in there, so I'm going to pull that out. That line comes across the front here, comes over and feeds that, and that has to be upsized now. So I don't think there's really much that I can do to show you guys in here, but when I take it out, I'll show you guys the difference. So here's new and old. Well, I should say new and new. You can see the back side of it's the same, it just goes to a -8. The orifices inside of it are orificed, and can I get it? There's a little bit of a size difference in there. So we're gonna go big, and we're gonna put that one in. Then we're gonna show you guys how to do the lines, and yeah, let's get it in there. So guys, just like a toddler, we had a blowout. So you saw me remove the valve, all was well. All of a sudden, Cheech and Chong blew out of there. I was trying to figure out how this went. I was originally thinking that it might go like this because this seat's in it, but I think after looking at a few diagrams, it goes into the pump like this, and then this guy goes behind it. Looks like a regular screwdriver there. That's got to be for the flow. Comes through it, has a little hole here. So yeah, that's how I'm putting it back together, and if it doesn't work, then well, we got ourselves a problem, don't we? It's gonna work. I looked at like 4 different diagrams. But yeah, when this stuff falls out and hits the floor on you, that is how it goes. All right, back to it. We got a hose here, and then we have the screw-in style of fittings. Now, what Brody told me with these, the biggest problem with these are that when you go to put them in, wherever they tighten up, they tighten up. So they're clocked wrong, they're clocked wrong. What you're gonna do, you unscrew this part here. This screws onto the hose itself. It's reverse thread, right? Yeah, reverse thread. It screws onto the hose, rotten her, just goes down. And then this one here, proper thread, goes into it like this. And what that does is you can see the threads in there, and then as this is going, this threads inside of that hose and makes it, you know, cool or pressure tight. So airtight, I guess you could say. Knew a girl like, never mind. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing to this. Let's see if I have the strength to do this. If you don't know, I have a herniated disc in my neck, and it makes my little mittens not very strong. So we're going to have to get creative with how to do this. This appears to be working good though. Minus the big floppy doppy. Don't want to get hit in the face with a big old hose, you know what I'm saying? Hey, hey. Alright, that feels like it's in. Okay, so whether you can see it or not, take my word for it, it's bottomed out. Giggity. Yeah, right in the bottom there. So now we'll put this in the vise. What? Not tight, snug. And then I'm going to run a little lube on this. Just so happen to have an abundance of power steering fluid laying around. So put a little of that on this. Whole purpose is just to help it slide. So I'm going to watch the hose to make sure the hose doesn't back out. At the same time, we're just going to give this a few little twisties. It's going together nice, real nice like. Yeah. Ah, there it goes. It's getting a little tight. Little bitch mittens. That's a snug little fit right there. Tell you what, man, I'll tell you what. Almost there. Just like that, you are now a professional hydraulic hose technician person guy thing. So yeah, I'm gonna get this thing put into place, figure out the other side, and then come back when this is in. We got hose, in different, never mind. Yeah, I got hose, and we got a Tacoma, and I'm pretty excited about that because we're gonna put these in there, and then we're gonna start it and go, it's gonna make a lot of noise. But it's going to turn. Hopefully the correct direction, and hopefully it doesn't just bind up and rip the pump off the engine. Let's find out. So guys, this here, if you don't know, it's a zip tie gun. So it pulls it tight and cuts it at the same time. So put this on a lot of tension, put the zip tie in there, done. Tight and done. So it's kind of like, if you don't have one, you should buy one. It's like the squatty potty when you first discover it, right? You're a little like, that's a waste, and then you're like, enjoy the go. So this makes you enjoy zip ties. That's a great simile. All right, so back to our trusty diagram right here. We have the left side of the ram is going to be the right steer, which is going to the front port, which is this one here. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So good. So we get a nut, or sorry, a bolt rather, right there. What's going to happen is these lines are going to sit on either side of it, and that's going to hold that steady while the rest of it flexes and prohibit things from breaking on me. So that's ideal, I guess, right? We have the brackets all in, lines are all on and tight. I'm going to spray this down with brake cleaner real quick, clean it up. I just shot the inside of it with black paint, same as back here. Just kind of makes it not stick out as much. Just kind of makes it look like a black abyss compared to this. Well, the lighting's terrible over here. Let's do this. Yeah, so that just all stands out a little more in there. Just trying to hide things a little bit, I guess, but it just, had a little extra spray paint. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. It's done. So let's get some fluid in this. We're going to get the front axle jacked up so we can turn the wheel side to side, get some movement going. We took care of the universal on the last go around. I welded it to that, so that's good to go. I do still have to secure these wires up out of the way, which I'm not sure if I'll ever do it. So perhaps I should do that soon. I would think I'd be getting bubbles up there by now. Now the way I had the cooler, both lines come in from the top, so that could be trapping air. We might need to just turn it on for a second. I'm gonna do that, guys. I'm gonna do the thing you're not supposed to do. I'm gonna start it for a couple seconds here, because I'm not liking the way that's going. Try that. Not going to fully start it, but we're going to cycle the pump a little bit here. That didn't do it. So let's put more in there. Okay. I heard it chirpy chirpy. There it is. That took some fluids. So guys, I'm not a hydraulic expert by any means, but I will tell you that you really want to put more in than less at first. Try and keep as much air out as possible. You don't want it to foam up. Heard it gulp air at the end there. Oh yeah, she's empty. Oh, she's coming alive, guys. Oh, that's that. I'm well aware that ain't good for it, guys. Like, super well aware. Well, she's a turner now, guys. I still have some room in there, which is slightly disheartening. And I'm not sure why this turned. She's a runner, guys. She's a runner, she's a tractor. Guys, so that's a wrap. You got to see it do twisty turny things. Hey, I like that. And then, yeah, there's no leaks. That never happens on the first try. I ordered a couple more belts because when you go full lock, I'm sure you heard it, it squeaks quite a bit. We have some air in the system. I'll show you that. So you can see in there it's kind of foamy. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's going to be foamy for a little while. My cooler, the way that I have it set up in here, is the lines come in from the top, so top and then out there. So that's going to trap air inside of all these fins. It's going to have quite a bit of movement on it and quite a bit of turning before all that comes out of there. What you're supposed to do is you tilt them like this, and then you have like the in down here and the out up here, and that allows the air to work its way up. It'll be just fine. I do training coolers like that and everything. They burp out eventually, and yeah, it's good to go. So, yeah, all we're waiting on now is I got to replace this block of wood, that guy right there, with the ORI as soon as it comes back, and then we will be ready to go. And I'm hoping to get that done quick because this is Memorial Day weekend coming up. It's Tuesday. If I don't have that back by Friday, I can't go out on Saturday. And I started lipping off on one of the Toyota off-road groups and telling people I wanted to go out on Saturday, and started trying to orchestrate something, and might not even be able to make it, which is kind of shitty of me. So yeah, what I want to do is I want to get everybody together that's in the SoCal area or surrounding or whatever, and I want to go do a run. I think it'd be cool to get everybody out there. I still have the guy that was telling me I was charging too much for the stuff that I took off of this Tacoma, and telling me that I was absolutely crazy on how much these things cost and yada yada. We're supposed to be doing a head-to-head build, his budget build against my clearly a budget build, and see if there's a difference. And I'll tell you what, if he beats me on the trail, I'm gonna be super pissed. But it is what it is. It'd be kind of funny at the same time. So yeah, that's gonna wrap this video up. And on the next one, we're going to be doing the skid plate, and I don't think I'm going to film putting the ORI back in, but if I go out this weekend, I'm definitely going to bring you guys along, check out our new turning and our new moving forward and stuff. And yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, the thumbs up thing, tell all your friends about me. That really helps. And I'll catch you on the next one.